of you to this live stream, which we are having every day as a part of meditating from the scriptures. And till now, we have completed to the 30th chapter of the book of Numbers, and we are doing it daily and continuously as a part of our 1 year Bible meditation program. Today we are going to meditate from read and explain from chapters 31, 32, and 33 of the book of Numbers. We know that in the previous chapters, God has instructed Israelites about various kinds of offerings, sacrifices, and the feast which they have to celebrate when they reach the land of Canaan. And now God is taking them to different areas of the land of Canaan. So, from chapter 27, we have understood Israelites have taken the border territory of the land of Canaan. They have taken over the land of Sihon, the king of Og, Sihon the Amorite king, and Og the king of Bashan, and now they have encamped themselves against the land of Moab. And we see Midianites along with Moabites came to entice the Israelites to sin so that they can win over them. But we see God judging the people of Israel. But now God is telling the people of Israel to avenge or fight against the Midianites and take over their land. And we see in chapter 31 Israelites going into a war against the people of Midian. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, avenge the people of Israel on the Midianites, after you have shall be gathered to your people. So Moses spoke to the people, saying, arm men from among you for the war, that they may go against Midian and execute God's vengeance on Midian. You shall send 1,000 from each of the tribe of Israel to the war. So there were provided out of the thousands of Israel 1,000 from each tribe, 12,000 armed for war. And Moses sent them to the war, 1,000 from each tribe, together with Phinehas, the son of Eleazar the priest, with the vessels of the sanctuary and the trumpets for the alarm in his hand. They warred against Midian, as the Lord commanded Moses, and killed every male, killed the kings of Midian, and rest of their slain, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, Reba, and 5 kings of Midian, and they also killed Balaam, the son of Beor, with sword. And the people of Israel took captives the women of Midian and their little ones. They took as plunder all their cattle, their flocks, and their gods, all their goods, and all their cities in the place where they lived, and all their encampment. They burned with fire, and took all the spoil and all the plunder, both men and women, and of beast. Then they brought the captives and the plunder and the spoil to Moses and to Eleazar the priest and to the congregation of the people of Israel at the camp on the plain of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho. So now the people of Israel are waging war against the Midianites, and Midianites are the people who practice idol worship and who practice human sacrifices. So God was taking revenge for these people and for their sin through the people of Israel. And this is how the Lord commanded the Israelites to go and wage war against the Midianites. And Midianites were killed by the Israelites, and their cities were burned down. Then they brought the captives and the plunder and the spoil to Moses and to Eleazar the priest, and to the congregation of the people of Israel at the camp on the plain of Moab by Jordan at Jericho. Moses and Eleazar the priest and all the chiefs of the congregation went to meet them outside the camp. And Moses was angry with the officers of the army, the commanders of thousands and the commanders of hundreds, who had come from service in the war. Moses said to them, have you let all the women live? Behold, these, on the Balaam's advice, caused the people of Israel to act treacherously against the Lord in the incident of Peor. And so the plague came among the congregation of Israel. Now therefore kill every male among the little ones, and kill every woman who has known man by lying with him. But all the young girls you have not known man by lying with him, keep alive for yourself, and camp outside the camp 7 days. Whoever of you has killed any person, and whoever has touched any slain, purify yourself and your captives on the 3rd day and on the 7th day. You shall purify every garment, every article of skin, all works of God's hand, and every article of wood. So God Moses, when came, after these people have waged war against Midian, they burned down their cities and brought the slaves, especially the women and the children, and all the goods of that city. And Moses is asking, why have you brought these women? Aren't these women who caused you Israelites to fall into sin by committing immorality? And so Moses asked to kill all of them. So there might be a question which arises in the hearts of people. The Old Testament God is so cruel. He is asking the Israelites to kill other nations. Of course, God was completely doing his judgment to the people of Canaan through Moses. We know when God was promising the land of Canaan to Abraham, God was telling, I am going to wait so that the sin of these people might fulfill. And when their sin has come to an end, to its fulfillment, I will judge them. So God was judging the people of Canaan for their sinful behaviors through the people of Israel. Then Eleazar the priest said to the men in the army who had gone into battle, this is the statute of the law that the Lord has commanded Moses, only the gold, the silver, the bronze, the iron, the tin, and the lead, everything that can stand the fire, you shall pass through fire, and it shall be clean. Nevertheless, it shall also be purified with water for impurity. And whatever cannot stand the fire, you shall pass through water. You must wash your clothes on the seventh day, you shall be clean. And afterwards, you may come into the camp. So, the rule and the regulation for cleansing and taking something which they got from warfare is by passing it through fire and purifying it and washing some material. If it's a leather material, you can wash it and take it back. So all the men who were part of the war, who killed people, they were supposed to live outside the camp for 7 days until the days of their purification has not come to an end. The Lord said to Moses, take the count of the plunder that was taken, both men and of beast, you and Eleazar the priest and the heads of the people, father's house of the congregation, and divide the plunder into two parts between the warriors who went out to battle and all the congregation, and levy for the Lord a tribute from men of war who went out to battle, 1 out of 500, and of the people of the oxen and the donkeys and the flocks. Take it from their half and give it to Eleazar the priest as a contribution to the Lord. And from the people of Israel's half you shall take one drawn out of every 50 of the people of the oxen, of the donkeys, of the flocks, of the cattle. Give them to the Levites who keep guard over the tabernacle of the Lord. And Moses and Eleazar, the priest, did as the Lord commanded Moses. So God was telling Moses and Eleazar the priest to choose some out of the loot that they have got in battle. They have to divide whatever they have got between the people who went for war, and some part of the loot has to be given to the people who are in the camp. And a part out of 50, everybody should offer an animal or whatever they have got in the war as an offering to the Lord. So it's a contribution for the service of the sanctuary. Now the plunder remaining of the spoils that the army took over was 6,75,000 sheep, 72,000 cattle, and 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 persons in all, women who had not known man by lying with them. And the portion of those who had gone out in army numbered 3,37,500 sheep, and the Lord's tribute of the sheep was 675. The cattle were 36,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 72. The donkeys were 30,500, of which the Lord's tribute was 61. The persons were 16,000, of which the Lord's tribute was 32%. And Moses gave the tribute, which was the contribution for the Lord, to Eleazar the priest, as the Lord commanded Moses. From the people of Israel's half, which Moses separated from that of the men who had served in the army, now the congregation's half was 3,37,500 sheep, 36,000 cattle, and 30,500 donkeys, and 16,000 persons. From the people of Israel's half, Moses took one of every 50, both of the persons and of the beast, and gave them to the Levites who kept guard over the tabernacle of the Lord, and the Lord as the Lord commanded Moses. So now What do they have? They have got in this great war is divided between the people and the warriors, and a part of it is given to the priest as a contribution to the tabernacle. So the war was a great war. All of the Midianites were killed. In this war, Balaam, who instructed Balak to lead the people of Israel into immorality and to sin, he also was killed in this war which Israel had against Midianites. Then the officers who were over the thousands of the army, and the commanders of the thousands, and the commanders of the hundred, came near to Moses and said to Moses, your servants have counted the men of war who are under our command, and there is not a man missing from us. And we have brought the Lord's offering, that each man found articles of gold, armlets, bracelets, signet rings, earrings, and beds, to make atonement for ourselves before the Lord. And Moses and Eleazar the priest received them from them the gold, all crafted articles, and all the gold, all the contribution that they presented to the Lord from the commanders of the thousands and the commanders of hundreds was 16,750 shekels. The men in the army had each taken plunder for himself, and Moses and Eleazar the priest received gold from the commanders of the thousands and the hundreds, and brought it into the tent of meeting as a memorial for the people of Israel before the Lord. So now the people who went for war, they are also coming with their contribution. They are saying, none of us were killed, although they killed all the Midianites, all the men, and took over that great territory. No Israeli was wounded or killed in this battle. So the soldiers wanted to give a special offering to God, and all of them from the plunder which they got, they brought 16,500 shekels of gold as a contribution to the Lord. Now, the people of Ruben and the people of Gad had a very great number of livestock, and they saw the land of Gazer and the land of Gilead, and behold, the place was a place for livestock. So the people of Gad and the people of Reuben came and said to Moses and to Eleazar the priest, to the chief of the congregation, at Roth, Dibon, Jazer, Nimrah, Heshbon, Eliah, Seba, Nebo, Beon. And the land that the Lord struck down before the congregation of Israel is a land from the life for the livestock, and for your servants you have livestock. And they said, if we have found favor in your sight, let this land be given to your servants for a possession. Do not take us across Jordan. So the tribe of Reuben and Gad, these people were, they had innumerable number of cattle. And they said to Moses, this land which we have taken from Bashanites and from Amorites and from Midianites, the land which is beyond Jordan, which is before Jordan, and this land they found it's very good for cattle, and they said, allow us to settle here. So we are not coming across Jordan, which is the main land, but we are planning to live here beyond Jordan. But Moses said to the people of God and to the people of Reuben, shall your brothers go out to the war while you sit here? Why will you discourage the heart of the people of Israel from going over into the land that the Lord has given them? Your fathers did this when I sent them from Kadesh Barnea to see the land. For when they went up to the valley of Eshcol and saw the land, they discouraged the hearts of the people of Israel from going into the land that the Lord has given them. And the Lord's anger was kindled on that day, and he swore, saying, surely none of the men who came out of Egypt from 20 years old and upward shall see the land that I swear to give to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, because they have not wholly followed me. None except Caleb, the son of Zephunah, the Kenizzite, and Joshua, the son of Nun, for they have wholly followed the Lord. And the Lord's anger was kindled against Israel, and he made them wander in the wilderness 40 years, until all the congregation that had done evil in the sight of the Lord was gone. And behold, you have risen in your father's place a brood of sinful men, to increase still more the fiery anger of the Lord against Israel. And if you turn away from following him, he will again abandon them in the wilderness, and he will destroy all his people. So now Moses is warning the people of Reuben and Gad that you are, by telling that you will remain here and you are not crossing Jordan, you are causing a trouble to your brothers. It was seen as some of the as many of the spies, when I tell to when I send them from Kadesh Barnea, they saw the people of Eshcol and they were afraid, and they put down the heart, discourage the hearts of others. So what are you trying to do? Are you planning to discourage rest of the Israelites from going beyond Jordan? So he's telling them, you are causing a discouragement to the hearts of other tribes if you are telling we will stay here. Then they came near to him and said, we will build sheepfolds here for our livestock and cities for our little ones. But we will take up arms, ready to go before the Lord, before the people of Israel, until each of the people of Israel has gained their inheritance. For we will not inherit with them on the other side of Jordan and beyond, because our inheritance has come to us on this side of Jordan to the east. So Moses said to them, if you will do this, if you will take up arms to go before the Lord for the war, and every armed man of you will pass over Jordan before the Lord until he has driven out his enemies from before him. And the Lord and the land is subdued before the Lord, then after that you shall return and be free of obligation to the Lord and to Israel, and this land shall be your possession before the Lord. But if you will not do it, behold, you have sinned against the Lord. And be sure your sin will find you out. Build cities for your little ones and folds for your sheep, and do what you have promised. And the people of Gad and the people of Reuben said to Moses, your servant will do as the Lord commands. Our little ones, our wives, our livestock, and our cattle shall remain there in the cities of Gilead. But your servants will pass over, every man who is armed for war before the Lord to battle as the Lord orders. So now the people of Reuben and Gad are coming, and they are telling, now we are going to build sheepfolds here and places for our little ones, our children to live. And but we are not going to stay here long. We are going to come with other Israelites to war against the rest of the Canaanites and take over the land. And they are telling, until all of the tribe of Israel have got their inheritance in the land of Canaan, we will not return to this place. But for the future, we will be living here. But now we are settling the rest of our people here, and we are going to come for war with other Israelites. So Moses also said, okay, we can do that. So Moses gave commandment concerning them to Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun, known to the heads of the fathers of the house of the tribes of the people of Israel. And Moses said to them, if the people of Gad and the people of Reuben, every man who is armed to battle before the Lord, will pass with you over Jordan, and the land shall be subdued before you, then you shall give them the land of Gilead for the possession. However, if they will not pass over with you armed, they shall have possession among you in the land of Canaan. And the people of Gad and the people of Reuben answered, what the Lord has said to your servants, we will do. We will pass over armed before the Lord into the land of Canaan, and the possession of our inheritance shall remain with us beyond Jordan. So now they are agreeing, and Moses is also agreeing, and Moses is giving commandment to Joshua the son of Nun and to Eleazar the priest. And Moses gave to them, to the people of Gad and to the people of Reuben and to that half tribe of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, the king of Amorites, and the kingdom of Og, the king of Bashan, and the land and its cities with their territories, and the cities of the land throughout the country. And people of Gad built Dibon, Atroth, Arior, Atro, Shofan, Jazer, Gobeha, Beth Nimrah, and Beth Haran, fortified cities, folds for sheep. And the people of Reuben built Heshbon, Eliah, Kiriathim, Nebo, and Baal Meon. Their names were changed, and Sibmah, and they gave their names to the cities and they built. And the sons of Machir, the sons of Manasseh, went to Gilead and captured it and disposed the Amorites who were there in it. Moses gave Gilead to Machir the son of Manasseh, and he settled in it. And Jair the son of Manasseh went and captured their villages and called them Havoth Jair. And Nobah went and captured Kenneth and its villages and called it Nobah after his own name. So the people of Israel, from the tribe of Reuben and Gad and half of Manasseh, they took over this land which belonged to Amorites and to Bashanites and to Midianites. These three countries have been taken over by two and a half tribe of Israeli, and they settled in the land of Amorites, Bajanites, and Midianites. This land was captured, and the land of Kenath was also captured by these people, and they took over the land and they settled down in this land. So now the Israelites are taking over territory and settling in the land of Canaan, and their single tribe, their tribes are taking over countries, and that's how Israel expanded. These are the stages of the people of Israel when they went out of the land of Egypt by their companies under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. Moses wrote down their starting places, stages by stages, by the command of the Lord, and these are their stages according to their starting places. So this is how the entire journey of the Israelites, place to place and point to point which they traveled, is written by Moses. They set out from Ramesses in the first day of the first month, on the day after the Passover. The people of Israel went out triumphantly in the sight of the Egyptians, while the Egyptians were burying their firstborn, whom the Lord has struck down among them. On their gods also Lord executed judgment. So when God killed all the firstborn of Egypt, Israelites went out of Ramesses, the storehouse cities of the Egyptians. So the people of Israel were committed in the work of building storehouses and fortified cities for the Egyptians. And on the first day, on the 14th day of the month of first month, the Israelites came out of Egypt from Ramesses. So Moses is giving a whole explanation of a complete explanation of the whole of the journey of Israel from Egypt to the land of Canaan. So the people of Israel set out from Ramesses and camped at Succoth. And they went out from Succoth and camped at Ethan, which is on the edge of the wilderness. And they set out from Ethan and turned back to Pi Hahiroth, which is the east of Baal Zebon. And they camped from Migdol. And they set out from Hahiroth and passed through the midst of the sea in the wilderness. And they went a 3 days journey on the wilderness of Ethan and camped at Mara. And they set out from Mara and came to Elim. And Elim, there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there. And they set out from Elim and camped by the Red Sea. And they set out from the Red Sea and camped in the wilderness of Sin. And they set out from the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dobka. And they set out from Dobka and camped at Alush. And they set out from Alush and camped at Rephidim, where there was no water for the people to drink. And they set out from Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai. And they set out from the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kirbath Hatava. And they set out from Kirbath Hatava and camped in Hazeroth. And they set out from Hazeroth and camped in Rithma. And they set out from Rithma and camped in Rimon Perez. And they set out from Rimon Perez and camped in Libnah. And they set out from Libnah and camped in Rissa. And set out from Rissa and camped in Keheletha. And they set out from Keheletha and camped at Mount Shepher. And they sent out from Mount Shepher and camped in Harda. And they set out from Harda and camped in Makheloth. And they set out from Makheloth and camped at Tahala. And they set out from Tahath and camped at Terah. And they set out from Terah and camped at Mithka. And they set out from Mithka and camped at Hashmona. And they set out from Hashmon and camped at Nozereth. And they set out from Mozereth and camped in Beni Jakim. And they set out from Beni Jakim and camped in Hor Hogida. And set out from Hor Hogida and camped in Jatbatha. And they set out from Jatbatha and camped at Abrona. And they set out from Abnotha and camped in Ezion Geber. And they set out from Ezion Geber and camped in the wilderness of Sin, that is Kadesh. And they set out from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor on the edge of the land of Canaan. So this is the wilderness journey, explained from place to place how they camped in the 40 years of journey. And Aaron the priest went up to Mount Hor at the command of the Lord and died there in the 14th year. In the 40th year after the people of Israel had come out of the land of Egypt. So 40 years after, what happens? Aaron the priest also dies in Mount Hor. Israel come out of Egypt on the first day of the fifth month. Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. So Aaron was age old, 123 years old when at his death. And the Canaanites, the king of Arad, who lived in Negev, in the land of Canaan, heard of the coming of the people of Israel, and they sent out from Mount Hor and camped at Salmona. And they set out from Zalmona and camped at Punon. And they set out from Punon and camped at Oboth. And they set out from Oboth and camped at Ai Aberim in the territory of Moab. And they set out from Aim and camped at Dibon Gad. And they set out from Dibon Gad and camped at Almo Diblathim. And they set out from Almo Dibalathim and camped in mountains of Abraham before Nebo. And they set out from the mountains of Abraham and camped in the plains of Moab by Jordan at Jericho. They camped at the Jordan from Beth Jeshimoth and Abel Shittim in the plains of Moab. And the Lord spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan at Jericho, saying, Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, When you pass over the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land from before you, and destroy all their figured stones, and destroy all their metal images, and demolish all their high places. And you shall take possession of the land and settle in it, for I have given the land to you to possess it. You shall inherit the land by lot according to your clans. To a large tribe you shall give a large inheritance, and to a small tribe you shall give a small inheritance. Wherever the Lord falls for anyone, that shall be his. According to the tribes of your fathers you shall inherit. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then those of them whom you let remain shall be as barbs in your eyes and thorns in your sides, and they shall trouble you in the land where you dwell, and I will do to you as I thought to do to them. So God is telling the people of Israel, since they have come to the territory of Jordan and to the city of Jericho, now they have to cross this place, cross the Jordan, and take over the mainland of the Canaan. Now God is telling, whenever you enter into the land, kill all the people of that land, never let any of them live, and destroy all their worship places, their stone images, and the images which they have made to worship for themselves. Destroy every one of them, and never let any of that influence you and your culture. God is telling, if you let them live in your land, then I will cause trouble to you because of them. So let's go to chapter 34. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Command the people of Israel and say to them, When you enter the land of Canaan, this is the land that shall fall to you for an inheritance, and the land of Canaan as defined by its borders. Your south side shall be from the wilderness of Zin alongside Edom. Your southern border shall run from the end of Salt Sea in the east, and border shall turn south of the ascent of Akrabim and cross to Zin, and its limit shall be south Kadesh Barnea. It shall go to Hazar Adar and pass along to Azmon, and the borders shall turn from Azmon to the brook of Egypt, and its limit shall be at the sea. So God is telling the people of Israel the boundaries and the limits of the land, which we shall meditate tomorrow, and tomorrow we shall end the book of Numbers. And it's amazing to read how God led the people of Israel in the wilderness journey, and how God protected them, how God moved them from one place to another, and how many of them rebelled and sinned and died in the wilderness. Everything is a moral to us as a New Testament believer to follow God in the right path without rebellion, believing in the promises and waiting for the great and mighty work of God, and to inherit everything that God has freely given us through Jesus Christ. Let's pray and conclude this session. Lord, our loving Heavenly Father, we thank you for this blessed morning that you have given us to meditate and read from your scriptures. Lord, your word says you shall inherit the promised land. You shall inherit the blessings that the Lord has given to you. Let us inherit everything, setting aside all the traps of enemy and keeping away from our lives all impure things and killing all the works of enemy and the sinful nature that is in us and leading a life that is pleasing unto you. Help us, Lord. Heal all those who are sick. Bless them. Bless each one of them. Meet all their needs. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. May God bless you. May God be with you. Thank you.